At least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here.
We can examine the crime scene in more detail.
Yes, that's right. And of course.
What?
Have you forgotten that the inspector mentioned before?
It was...
The landlord, Mr. Garrideb, who discovered Shamespeare.
I don't want to talk to him again, but we probably should. Yeah, Mr. John Garrideb. Right.
I suspect. We could find him sitting on the top floor as usual.
Right. Well, we must remember to go and talk to him later, too. Oh boy. This is pretty front-loaded, but before we leave...
What the heck is this?
Like, really. I've been staring at this the whole time.
What's that?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes. I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was open?
Okay. Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, is there?
Not at a glance. She's right.
And yet here we have the torn off end of an envelope.
Which means a message is missing. How peculiar.
It strikes me as unusual.
I agree. Better take this, just in case. Besides, the police won't need it. What else we got here? We got this fancy stage. Well, not most likely evidence. It's fancy. Let's just check it out.
It's some sort of makeshift stage, I think.
Where does the audience sit, though? For the nightly Shakespeare performances.
Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruto. With or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. You know, you could bang on the bench. Think about it.
What?
Then you could practice your art every single day.
I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal, then I shall.
This I have to see. Well, she's on board. That's good. All right, that was definitely worth it. I think we can all agree. What's this, though? Huh. That lock, like right under it. What is that green thing? And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of sort. Maybe for the hot gas? I mean, looks like there's a lamp attached to it.
This is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas, as they use it with coins.
Wait, what? Yes, now you point it out. I can see there's a slot just there. It looks like you would take a coin. A coin-operated lamp? I guess? That's so weird. Maybe that was just how it was.
That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for light and heating.
So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd sleep in the freezing cold.
Yes. Or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Golly. It is freezing right now, so I feel very immersed. Let's see. Yeah, what's going on with this area? Doesn't look like much on the shelf.
Just wine glasses and bottles. And both of them are cracked.
Yeah, not much use, are they? What's the matter, Sasato?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper. That's all.
Oh, yeah. He always has wine on hand, doesn't he?
Yes, he's sort of reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and you should donate them to the needy.
You can suggest it next time we meet to make some charitable donations. I don't think he's that type of guy. Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with the grim and shady goings.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? You know, I've always dreamt of being a king.
I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo or such like.
With a Sean Mage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a Sean Mage.
I don't know what a Sean Mage is. And you look wonderful in this one. You already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Sean Mage? Okay, I gotta look it up. Oh, okay, it's pretty much Ouchie's haircut. You know the type of hairdo where you're like purposely bald? Yeah, I don't really get it, but whatever. That'd be quite the look. wood in it. And speaking of the looking, yeah, there's not a lot of that going on out this window, is there?
I was see from the outside. The window is completely bricked up.
Don't say that, Susato.
Why? I mean, it's really bricked up.
No, stop.
A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things we used to tax in Great Britain and make people pay for a number of windows they had in property. It's extraordinary. And apparently, that's just how it was. Very odd.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unfavorable tax.
Oh, what is this, Susato?
If you look closely, a number of bricks are loose.
Is this relevant? What? Soap again?
It looks as though an amateur has
Broken out of a few of them, just here. Was it Shamespeare who did it? I wonder, being the lodger renting this room.
Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a ledge. There's something on it.
Oh, what? I don't see the bright green color.
It's so cold outside. You can feel it through the gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold.
More importantly,
what's on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? You gotta be kidding me. Bars of soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge of the window?
I have no idea, but the pair of them look rather charming like that.
What? What? Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think we should take one. There are two, after all. Complimentary. Oh, you shouldn't have.
Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
All right, what is going on with this soap? What?
What's in the middle? There's a patch that's different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose.
Well, only in Great Britain.
It looks like the Hinomura flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing here, of all places? Cheap bar of soap that was discovered outside Shamespeare's window. It's one or two of these were found there. Okay. How weird. What's up with soap in this frickin' place? Hardly a substantial clue, but I think we have this and then the body to check out. It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. This light.
Gas lights. A gas stove. London really is a city full of gas.
Now I think about it. Mr. and Miss Garadeb had an open fire on their top floor, didn't they?
Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Well, you know, it's kind of a pain to get the wood all over and over again. That's how I feel about it. Then again, don't really need that sort of thing over here.
Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death? Being poisoned as he was?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn in a better life.
Yes, suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
I don't think the borders of Buddhism, like, come on. Give it a shot.
I made sure I had a reference at the handy for just such an occasion as this. Actually, this book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Prayer for the Departed, the British Way.
What? I mean, I guess when in Rome.
I'll just reread it now. One moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Huh, she might be a while. Oh, outside the bars of soap, I'm not finding much. Do we really just hit the bricks already? I guess so. Huh. Okay, oh, new location. Well, I guess we should, go say hi to Mr. Garadeb up next. Didn't realize we were even free to go right now. Oh yeah, there was a fire. How about that? How you doing, fella? It's been a minute. Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top-floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident. Don't forget.
Yo. You chops, eh? Yeah. Yes. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. You were there, and The outcome, I'm sure you're not too pleased with. As much for Mr. Garrideb as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Vale yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. Rotten luck.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrideb.
Yes, I suppose you like to know about all that. Dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? What's up with that? Well, alrighty. Let's get to it. You know, a little cross-exam, why not? Well, it's really just more of a conversation. So, how you hanging out? How's it doing? How's the, the single life now that the missus is behind bars? After Mr. I can't believe I'm leading with this. After Mitsumi's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe. Didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well now, must have been 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow has come down rather heavily, as I remember. It was completely dark already. My failed actor chap was out at the time.
Garrideb noticed there was no light in his room or something, I guess. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to say, I'm leaving, Garrideb, goodbye!
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamespeare got back, and the shop was up until past 1 in the morning. I have you know.
You don't look too happy about that.
Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I fell asleep by then, so I'd rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating.
Yes.
What's wrong, Susato?
Is everything all right? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room after all evening, if I've understood correctly.
Where are you going with this? Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg.
Then how is it you seem to know the precise movements of your tenants?
I mean, I just thought he had a good sense of hearing for when the door slams. I guess it could be any of the tenants. Hey, that's a good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Oh. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? Oh no, another Voyager?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a ballsy outrage. I'm an ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on the tenants. Why would I?
Yeah, I can't think of a reason. But then again, I'm not the tenant, am I?
Then how do you know, Mr. Garrideb?
It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything.
Oh, the gas.
So, alright, who's up here farting?
Tell me, what on earth do you mean? How can the gas tell you anything? Let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I'd more or less worked that out.
Okay. Every room in the building is connected by a single gas pipe in the main outside, and the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yeah, I understand that too. So,
let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps here. What do you suppose would happen?
well, the room would get brighter? Yeah?
Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
Oh, they dim? Because they're redirecting the gas flow?
Perhaps because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected.
Okay, makes sense.
That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily. Might it?
Ah, of course, because everything's connected to a supply pipe.
Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Oh, Charlie, good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long, worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here, and they glow brighter in the rest of the house.
Right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. So yeah, he turned the lights off and then... But he ain't got no money. What's up with that?
You've got it.
Well, that answers that, but still... So many other questions.
Of course, because when people come back home in the evening, and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out the lamps and fires.
Clever. Okay. You've dodged some allegations, Garradeb. Good on you.
In point of fact, the room with the ground floor and the one above it use a slightly different amount of gas. By watching the lights in here closer, I can work out exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Okay.
Gosh, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, well. Nothing to it, really. Anyone can look at a flame.
I can't really see what's going to help us with the case either. I'd like to know. That's why Garradeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I think there's more to his idle curiosity. Well, he is a landlord. He probably, feels responsible for the home. Makes sense, right? This morning's incident. Yeah, let's just talk about that. Can you recount it? Must have been a real shock for you this morning. Hear that you discovered what had happened.
Well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas.
Oh. So it is like that.
I went down and knocked on his door, but no barley answer.
And that's when you broke into his room, by kicking down the door.
Yes, it doesn't seem so crazy now, does it? I caught on the rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course, with his bum leg and all.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour,
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have kicked your door down every morning.
Hey, you don't gotta throw shade at me. It's hard. It's cold. When it's cold, you don't want to wake up. I was sleeping a little bit. I'm sorry.
Well, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
It's just me, or is he avoiding our gaze? Did he have a reason to... What is going on here? I thought Garradeb would be on the straight and narrow, but I guess not. Hopefully he doesn't get also sent to jail.
I would do anything to revisit my beloved in jail.
But I don't think they have co-op prisons, so that's probably not what's happening.
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
Yes, that's Shamespeare.
The victim's name, right? Do I have it right?
Yes, I just said it. William Shamespeare. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Oh, that's dark.
Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bully screw loose.
It's so hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into. Right.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
Hey, that was my internal monologue. Am I crazy? Did she read my mind? She did! What the...
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare.
Wait, so... Shakespeare also exists in this universe? I mean, I guess he has to be. But like, I thought he was like a descendant.
Read a few plays of the old bard myself, Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Yeah, the classics.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classic playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
Seems incredible that Shakespeare was shorthand to Sao. Someone was too heavy-handed there. I wonder why that is the case. I tried Googling a answer, but I guess it's just a name or a nickname that just stuck over the years. Huh. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room. Actually, weren't there?
Of course. Mr. Natsumi is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamespeare would have much in common.
Yeah, seems like they're good buddies. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Yet again, is Sasato a mind reader, or is the blue text just Naruhodo whispering?
Really, how rude. Goodness. We're supposed to be defending him.
And that's all we got here? We didn't even get any evidence! I guess in that case we have to come back. Okay. Then where to next? Briar Road. I guess, yeah, just check outside. Maybe we can look at the... We can see the soap from here? What's going on with that? No, really? What? Why?
With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, because of an old window tax that had
Yes, we know about the window tax.
in her playlist, the poorer members of society fill their windows with bricks.
But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely.
Unfortunately, it appeared that the residents of the district can't afford to pay to have the work done.
Right. Sad state of affairs, this is.
Especially for poor people like Mr. Natsume, who live all cooped up in a windowless room.
Suppose that's the price pay for living in very cheap accommodations. I just, I gotta keep the, windows of my dwelling, sealed so light doesn't get in when I'm trying to film stuff, as of late. And also I tend to sleep in and, the sun coming up, it's such a pain.
It seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
But the freaking... Anything else here? Mr. Snowman, he's hanging out. Alright. Alright, to make a long story short, I effed up and didn't get the cup. Then Soseki will appear in the jail. Yeah, I had to look it up, I'll be honest with you.
One of the teacups Miss Shamespeare and his guests were drinking last night. But don't go drinking from that, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm well aware, Susato. Not planning on it. Anyway, the cups are both empty. Poison's probably not inside. Yet again, another trial with cups and poison.
Weird. That's true. So one was Mr. Shamespeare's, and the other must have been Mr. Natsume, right?
Soseki-san wasn't poisoned. What gives? How should we take these and examine them later? Okay, now we got it. Teacups used by Mr. Shamespeare and Natsume. The ones with the green line around the rim was Mr. Natsume's. Okay, and they're matching pair. And... yeah, now we're good. Thank God. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Oh! Hey, Greggy boy! Back so soon! Hi!
I thought that little Japanese fella in the clink when reported this in for the division. And in 5 minutes' time, the place will be corned off by the yard.
I see. Well, we should probably be going then. Please ignore all the various trinkets I have in my pocket.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being backed into the cell.
I'm sure. Oh! What is happening?
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
He's a zombie! I can't believe it.
Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow! A poor player!
Oh God, I was hoping you'd be dead, so I wouldn't have to do this voice anymore.
That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Line. Now, how soundeth the next part?
It actually needs a line read. Oh my God.
It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Think it works. Oh, that's right. Happy day! Yes, you got it right.
What is happening? He's actually dead! Right? What is going on? If he's not dead, there's no...
The fella ain't dead at all.
I mean, I think.
What was that nonsense he was
Saying, though, it's Shakespeare. It's gotta be.
I think yes. It was from Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
Dang, you know your stuff. Shakespeare, huh? Weird. Well, actually not that weird, given the the game, and this guy's a tire.
So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He is taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment.
Oh, okay, great.
Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime.
Whatever that now was. Yeah, I mean, so Seki doesn't seem like he did anything if he's alive. I mean, attempted murder still. Whoa. Who is this dude?
Whatever you think will happen now?
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for a murder, and then the victim came back to life. Are they gonna buy that? Like,
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely Mr. Shamespeare did consume poison, as we deduced, but it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cell, though. Right. This fella.
It's the B-boy.
What's that man doing there? Looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodging. So for full context, Shamespeare and this dude just showed up in the last game and left. Nothing happened. And part of me wanting to play this series again is to just finally have closure. Be like, oh, that's what their deal was. Because, 3D models, they are complicated. Like that. Look how many tries are in Susato's hair. That's like a lot. Look, count them. Gee.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seem rather transfixed on my hair instead of the gentleman over there.
Excuse me, can we have a word? Oh! He just ran off. Thank God, because I could not think of a voice for that guy.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Oh, where was it?
I don't remember. Well, we've done as much investigating as we can, I think. I also gotta go to the prison cell. Yay, yay, yay. We're going to jail. Wait, that sounds stupid, actually. Okay. But it seems pretty clear we either have the perpetrator or someone involved with the perpetrator. Oh, come on. Don't face your back to us. He's just given up on life, it looks like. Oh.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. There he is, like a caged animal. Have the police finished questioning you? Come on now, do you want a treat?
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yeah.
What? Is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes. Is that it?
He actually called himself a great detective, Mr. Natsumi, not a ghost. Did you forget? Oh, he's so silly. Can't you just love the guy?
But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed. Cursed, I tell you.
No, it's not the case. He's immortal. I think. Well, that sort of hurts.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. So, what I'm trying to say is, are you also a ghost?
Moving on, we have some wonderful news.
Oh, you do.
The victim that we thought was dead has come back to life again.
Oh, well, that's good.
Now, in the absolute worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's an improvement. Right, Mr. Natsumi?
That's terrible!
Oh,
I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick.
What?
You didn't you confess you're a killer? Why the mustache? Constant questions!
Sorry to hear that, but you understand they're just doing their job, man.
That's selfish. Shyster! Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you're going to come back to life, why bother dying?
Wickedly wishy-washy William.
oh.
Well, it seems like Mr. Shamespeare was never actually dead in the first place.
Ah, yes. That might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Because do pay attention. I am innocent. I need to remind you. Our lively debate last night was much fun. Be sad to think it was our last.
Aw, so Seki.
Oops. I mean,
Mr. Natsumi, does this mean you were lying prior? You did see the victim last night, right?
I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
I am your lawyer!
Please, Natsumi. We need to hear your side of the story.
Why am I cursed like this?
Because it's funny. It's so effed up. Okay, actually, just tell me, Jesus. Can you tell us exactly what happened last night without fibbing?
There's nothing to tell. I've never even seen this. What was his name again? Will I am? What a ridiculous. It's just not even one name. It's a sentence. But Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. But that was yesterday. Now,
The case with more poor old Miss Green, hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. Yeah. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
It doesn't feel like it.
after the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to the lowly lodgings, and that evening at 9:30, it must have been, I visited Shamespeare.
So you did go to the victim's room at 9, right? As we feared. Oh no.
I didn't do anything wrong, though!
I'd never ever been to his room before. It was the first time. Okay. Then what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting, and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him in farewell.
That ties up with what Miss Gerdeb said. The victim went out and came back after 8. Okay.
We met again later the evening at around 9, just after, when I took him in some tea I brewed as a gift.
Aw, it's so sad. Listen, he's an eccentric. He's very annoying, and he always gets in trouble. But he had such a rough day being defended in court, and he still goes out of the way for his neighbor. I don't know, man. That's a nice gesture. I wish I could be that charitable, you know?
So it was you who brought the tea that I'd clearly drunk at the scene.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's not necessarily charity if it almost killed the guy.
I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate.
Power level ranking of Romeo and Juliet. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm sure it was a gallant time.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. Not too big of a fan.
I'm a fan of Frankenstein, though. You ever read that one? Not so much. Pretty good. I don't know if that timeline matches up. That was like the 1800s, so he definitely has a chance to read it. Anyway.
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamespeare's tea, right?
No! You have it all wrong!
Oh, my bad.
Team Juliet won! That was I. That's why I left the room. The flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear, categorically.
Because you whooped his behind in a debate so bad? I don't... And now he's trying to get you put in jail. I hope that isn't the incident we have here.
Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
Yes, boy. I'm a cursed object. It's terrible. I'm sure I've mentioned that to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now. And in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me.
Really? It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture.
Those are foreigners everywhere I look. Oh, there's not one in the cell, thank goodness. And they all stare at me. They all laugh at me. That's the impression I get whenever I go. Makes me scared to leave my room.
Aw.
Which is why I become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, 1 week ago, I moved in the Briar Road.
But why?
Why'd you choose that place? Doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is very cheap. I've little money. It spoke to me.
I guess that's one way to put it.
The rent. Oh no.
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Oh, how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh no.
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. Unless they were incredibly desperate. Ew.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money, and a horrible history is a small price to pay.
Relatable. Except replace books with video games. But I'm trying to work on it. I'm reading some books now and here and then. It's actually kind of fun. I don't know. Never thought. Like, when you're not forced to read books for school, you're like, dang. This is actually kind of baller, you know? Like Soseki Natsumi's novel.
When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease and like lightning.
Brave or blinkered.
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful? I didn't hear anything while I was there, you know? But, you know, he's there more often than we are. Maybe it's not a daily occurrence.
How did the room's horrible history affect you? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of a beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Watching you, huh? Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It's not that clever. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to that place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
Are you sure it's not your cat just jumping on you while you're in the bed?
That really is horrible.
And now to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Shamespeare was writhing in agony for the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits.
You don't say.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible and into the cell where you'll be safe.
Yes, you're right, I know it. That's why. I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should avoid accommodations with such pasts. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become a history.
No, I didn't ponder that.
This sort of knows how to make the man listen. Yes, you don't play games. While I'm playing this game. Well, we learned effing nothing. God dang it.
Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on the room as well.
You mean Garadeb? Oh. So he believes it too.
He knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place after knowing this. Unless it's to investigate.
Perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamp than to tenants' movements.
Oh, and that's why he was worried that Shamespeare died. Yeah, because, you know, he knows the history of the place. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? Even if it's not directly? Does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas pipes. Must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants.
What do you mean? He pays so much attention to the gas lamps.
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to you, Mr. Natsumi. Forget I said anything.
Wait, is it possible the guy that died there originally, he died from a gas leak? Is that like, do they know that's a thing in this time period? I don't know. Something to keep mind of, though.
Oh, you're talking about me behind my back as well? What's important is that Shamespeare is in fact dead at all.
Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. I promise.
Yes, please. I do hope you're right.
Excuse me.
Oh. That's not Gregson's voice. Come on. What are we doing? That sounding like Greggy, boy. Come on.
Gonna help overhear what you're saying about me. And on that note, I got some good news. And I might got some bad news, too.
Oh.
Which you want first?
Always, every time. The bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. I agree. Just maybe not in that specific phrase.
Alright, well then, the good news it is.
What? Huh?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Oh, all right. Then why'd you ask me for my preference?
As you might have...
Doesn't even tell.
Yeah, I'm not answering that. As you might have heard, the victim Shamespeare was just unconscious. He's come around now.
Yeah, we saw as much ourselves. It was kind of a terrifying glory, in a way. It was just weird, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he's still being treated by the docs, but managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, how wonderful. Isn't that great, Mr. Natsumi?
Oh, goodness, it's all over then. I'll be leaving soon.
Not exactly. That's not in the cards, buddy boy.
Why not, Inspector?
Well, it's that bad news I was talking about. Mr. Shamespeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
And that would be...
Oh, dear.
You don't mean...
Yeah, sorry, to say I do, yes. It's pointing finger at you, Mr. Natsumi.
But I gave him tea!
By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsumi.
Shiraz, this is a British guy doing a Boston accent, reading Shakespeare, and saying a Japanese guy's name. We have a weird effing project on our hands, don't we? No.
Yeah, I'm afraid you'll be appearing at court as planned. So, hang tight, don't, keep... I'm just saying, don't get too comfy, because you also gotta leave, You'll be waiting to make the necessary preparations. So, good luck, I guess.
No! I can't do that, I'm tired. No, we'll do it for Natsumi. No! I had to direction my mouth up to the ceiling so it would reverberate back into the microphone.
And so once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Once and for all, let's get it.
From Mr. Natsumi, the really unlucky neighbor, god dang.
Let's see what we got here. 22nd of February, 1999, or something like that. In the
Antechamber of the president's office. You know what's going on.
The Old Bailey, also known as the president's office? No, that can't be right. This place always makes me feel strange. Makes me think very ridiculous things. Seems to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all the time here. Well, didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line.
No. Hey, shouldn't this guy be in cuffs? And maybe a muzzle.
Good morning!
Hi.
It was only 2 days ago that I declared not guilty here.
Yeah, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
But now this! Another morning, another murder. Here I am in this hack hole. Can't keep coming to court. Will this be the rest of my life, Mr. Naruto?
I really hope not. I mean, how unlucky can one person be?
I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruto, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Hi there again.
Oh my god, he's the same height as Sato.
Good morning. I'm not shaming, just like, what's going on with that?
You gotta stand up straight, brother.
Yes, morning.
So here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotomo Esquire, what's the bad news?
Oh, you heard, did you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
I didn't think I was that loud. I'm sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Susato. Now what is it? Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord
Baron Von Zeeks, dude, you're gonna die either.
Wait a minute. Where do you know Natsumi doesn't die?
Uh-oh. Van Zeeks?
Oh, no.
I mean, he didn't lie, die last time, though, so the Reaper of the Bailey, most legendary prosecutor in the land. Look at him. Pointing.
He's stealing my thing. Only I can do that. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through. But still. Perhaps Mr. Natsumi's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter after all.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when the Lord Van Zeeks is in the prosecution. I guess the curse has like a delayed effect and he's back? Oh no! Oh no!
That, even if the person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another.
We've experienced it firsthand. Couple of times, actually. Oh yeah, how could we forget?
A man was successfully defended, at the most terrifying end after his acquittal, right here in the Bailey.
Still never figured out what was up with that. Huh.
Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits and now the Reaper!
Pear or petrifying?
Perus.
Potentially.
How do you change your voice like that? Well, if it's potentially at least, you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Right, nothing is certain. Especially your life. Oh, no, I didn't mean to say that.
Welcome, student Mr. Naruto, Esquire!
Yes.
I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You more than anyone know.
Now, don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promise to be a hard battle, I fear. We have
an envelope and a cup. It's not looking hot.
Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go.
Oh, yes. I forgot to say, I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
That's not a bad thing.
Oh. If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help, and that could be seen as a weakness. Lord Van Zeeks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly.
At least that's my gut feeling. Yeah, doesn't always have to be a bad thing.
Mr. Naruhodo?
You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well I said. Welcome to Mr. Horror Esquire. Well said.
Okay. Can we just get to the trial?
I'm getting really tired of you, Soseki. I'm sorry, but you are on my last nerve.
I swear on my sword, and the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors, I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free, with honor. Oh yes, let's go.
And so begins the trial for Soseki Natsumi Part 2 in the Old Bailey. Oh, looks like we got some familiar faces.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. I'm good to go.
Readiness for the trial, my learned friend,
is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. I don't think so. I think we got this.
It's not just my imagination. It's really there. Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. I don't know, I just figured he was racist.
Are we going to get an explanation for that in this game? Probably. If I had to guess.
It was some time ago. Now that the first, known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he wasn't appeared in court at all.
It's just following me wherever I go, like some kind of turd-infused vampire. He doesn't eat blood. He eats Well, I'll let you just put 2 and 2 together.
Yet now he's back in the courtroom. Though for some reason, only when I'm defending. Weird. This Reaper, this curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery.
But not really what's important right now. Let's focus on saving Natsumi, right?
Isn't the time to be pondering? Yeah, focus.
Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people. Are y'all ready?
Absolutely. I have a feeling this Larkin wasn't innocent before.
I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually. What?
Oh, we got a new one.
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight, or the missus will get me through the roof.
Oh my, the Lord show us all the light here, and lead his flock to righteous victory, yes.
The British jury system is so very different than our own, isn't it? For better or for worse,
In this game.
It's quite extraordinary to think the power of the judgment is in the hands of 6 people, the public, and that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement.
I don't really remember each of their individual quirks, but that's not important right now. Let's just focus on the facts. 6 citizens of London chosen at random. At least that's the idea. As it turns out, it's not always the case.
The prosecution would draw attention to the fact, and the accused was on trial here 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for jury duty today.
But I guess one of them had to be replaced.
Well, let's commence. Lord Van Zeeks, your opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is it not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision? However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. In fact, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime, namely that of the attempted murder of his neighbor, an innocent Englishman.
You don't know that. Like, we don't, like, you don't got the facts. I don't got the facts. Like, let's figure it out together. You know, teamwork. It's not really how it goes, but
To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand.
oh no. Who's he bringing to the stand? What?
The detective responsible for the investigation, and the accused himself.
Wait, the detective? Oh, okay. It's not Sholmes. Thank God. I guess, I had me worried there for a second. You know, I was second guessing.
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. I'm Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard Homicide Division.
My turn. Oh, yes, the second Nazi from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture.
Master Natsume,
Yes, my lord. Sir.
I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken, but, you swore an oath never set foot in here again, huh? I remember it as if it were yesterday. Flashback. No time. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough.
Well, if it was up to me, I wouldn't be here, but this is the last place I want to be, believe me.
Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Oh, yeah, right on it.
All right. This should be simple enough. I mean, we kind of just did this.
Incident. Garrett household. Defendant's lodgings. There he is. And the ground floor, the victim, Mr. William Shamespeare. The defendant already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Shamespeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning. And, was found the following morning when the landlord suspected something was up. Walked down the door, he did.
Okay. Sounds pretty clean so far.
That means I presume the door to be the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident?
Oh. Oh my god, it's another locked room actually this time. No!
What is going on? Is every game we've ever played on this channel have one? I think only Ace Attorney 2. Someone please fact check that for me. I'll give you a sticker.
Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shamespeare, lives to tell the tale. Very nearly didn't. Man's halfway to heaven's door when we found him. So first officer on the scene, my lord. Yeah, I'm punctual and all that. I got photograph printed here, took the time to show how it looked. So, you know, my camera lens is looking pretty good. Look at it. It's all in camera. It's all in color.
A chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Everyone presented thought he was. I guess even I can be wrong sometimes.
Oh, well, all right, I'll take that photo if you don't mind me. Now then, Natsume.
Yes! Yes!
I heard you the first time. God, you are redundant.
You even appeared in court twice. Man, come on.
As a defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? If you keep squeezing like that, Sonny, you're gonna get a hemorrhoid.
They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits.
Oh no, good gracious. What's haunted?
My lodgings. There's been a whole series of strange happenings at my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances, and I know what you're thinking, it is not me. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned, and me. What about me? I've been nearly killed countless times.
Killed? How? What are you saying?
Even on the fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed. But before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me.
You shouldn't fall asleep with the stove on. I think that no matter what time period you're in, that's solid advice.
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring.
Oh, judge is on my side.
But it's so cold. My runny nose would freeze. Point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
'Cause it's funny. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point. I'll allow it. Go on. Fortunately, the victim Shamspeare has regained consciousness after his ordeal, and he had named the true culprit.
The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea he drank on the night in question.
Who do you think gave him the cup, my lord?
It was none other than the accused.
Oh, good grief, that is darning.
Yeah, but he's pointing at me, so, I didn't do it.
Oh, dare! Oh, dare! Oh, dare!
That's the crux of the whole thing. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why was the victim accused him? Doesn't make sense. Maybe just freaking...
All right, them getting mad about Shakespeare seems more compelling as time goes on. Will that really be the crux of the... I mean, like, imprisoning someone for that? I don't...
Well, Mr. Natsume, what do you got to say to this accusation?
The evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me, and I visited Shamespeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never would I touch tea ever again.
I mean, come on. Tea is perfectly fine in most cases. The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we had before. Would have been handy.
Well, that'll do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine y'all. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. Do you object? I have no objections, my lord. Good. And you'll give me an account of events not in question.
Yes, my lord.
Okay.
This can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. But we gotta find a hole here. Like, I don't know, like a hole in someone's window.
I was around 9 o'clock the evening when I visited my neighbor and took some tea as a gift. He had a heated literary debate over a nice and hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11.
Okay.
My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Yeah. Oh. No, because you could... I mean, we've already established, you can throw keys under doors, etc. Heck, you could have just locked it and then just, like, from the outside and just chucked the key or something.
Stretching takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. Victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
Okay, wait, he named a poison there. I'm curious. Is that just a nickname for a sort of a drug or some kind? I see. It all seems relatively straightforward, then.
Excuse me, but what testimony does raise one other crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsumi claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of poison, haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, is there actually poison in the teacups, or is it bullcrap?
Well, as it happens, no. I haven't been able to.
Did I hear that? Why have you not examined these cups, sir?
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? We took the cups, though. Like,
My learned friend is falsely incensed.
what? I smell fine, I think. My incense are good.
The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea. Not that it was overlooked.
Wait, the tea? Why?
Simple enough. There was none left, not a drop. Some must have very thirsty indeed.
With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances.
Well, they need a drop. That one drop doesn't exist, funny enough.
So there's none left in the cups? Dang.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
Then what about the foam on his mouth?
I see. Well, that matter's clear. Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
It's not looking good, I imagine. Oh, they're all looking different directions. Except that guy. That lady too. Oh, he's a little to the side. No, it's 50-50.
You can see in their faces, I'm sure, the recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In my mere moments from now, you will lose and your compatriot will be cursed for all eternity.
A little too late for that, it appears. I'm already cursed. Could the curses do a double negative?
He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. I didn't do it. They don't. Look at him. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Besides, we're just getting started. Come on, let me work my magic.
Counsel for the defense? Get at it.
Yes, my lord. Wait, his eyes are darting again. Dude, I thought he was a pro at this point. All right. Okay, so something does stick out to me. But still, let's just go in order because you never know. It's around 9 o'clock when I got the tea as a gift. Okay, where'd you buy it? Can we hear more about this tea that you bought? Were you and your neighbors good friends then?
No. We weren't friends. Not at all. Never, ever.
I believe you, but no would have sufficed. Seems like a random thing to do then. Why did you decide to pay him a visit?
Mr. Shamespeare fancies himself as having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English,
We've had much to talk about together. But you don't consider him a friend. Oh, I guess I'm not your friend then, Natsumi.
Come now, no Nipponese could understand the finer points of English literature.
Yeah, true. Sure. Okay, dude. On the night in question, what was the topic of the conversation, I presume?
it was the day of my last trial when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings when I ran into Shamespeare outside the street. That was around 6 o'clock. We exchanged one or two pleasantries, but soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way at the time, though. Now, I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have all ill intentions? No! Not one, not two, never any, not at all.
That sounds like something a liar would say, Soseki-san.
A simple no would have sufficed. He really doesn't know how to be brief, does he?
I mean, his books are like 700 pages. Friggin' no. I shouldn't say all of them are, though. That could not be the case. I don't know.
And tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room.
Okay, not much there other than typical Soseki mannerisms. Our heated literary debate over a nice hot drink. Which we're back to my room at 11. Okay. I mean, this is pretty dry, but a literary debate about Shakespeare's works, I think.
Shakespeare? Ah, very much topic of conversation, I must say.
Oh, yes, my lord. I'd love to tell you about it. Maybe over tea sometime.
I'm good. No, I'm good.
Romeo and Juliet. Who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parley.
Stronger? I mean, I wouldn't have turned into a battle of the sexes.
Who was stronger? Yeah, I don't know why. I'm gonna regret asking this, but how did the debate go?
Well, we both agreed that we have reached a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out in a Greco-Roman style, naturally.
Wait, you battled it out? Like you reenacted the play? Wait, did you kiss? What the?
Mr. Shamespeare had all sorts of costumes in his room for such a contest.
So when you say a reenactment, you mean you were in costume? Quite the night.
He has a Romeo, I as Juliet.
With a mustache?
And after a vigorous wild tussle, I as Juliet came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever!
I don't even want to picture that, man. I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage.
The facts remain that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct?
Yes. I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I'd heard that he was too poor to have tea himself, you see.
It's true, there's not any leaves to be found in his room.
I want to do something nice. To be friendly. Just once. I'm so wise everyone would look at me with such suspicion. It's true. The tea was harmless. Of course it was.
Is there a possibility the way he prepared the tea could have made him sick?
I mean, he had to be really sick. I mean, by the time we found him, he was like knocked out for half a day. Maybe they were expired. No, I don't think that's possible.
Do you have any basis for the statement, witness?
Okay. Just going back to Soseki again. But he was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind him otherwise. We just simply know that's not true. So for the sake of brevity, I'm skipping it, darn it.
Stretching takes time to have effect on the body. Okay, tell me, what is this?
You know, just enlighten the commoners.
How long does it take for symptoms to appear then?
Corner to corner. That's all I wanted to say, huh? I was speaking to her at the yard about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed, and the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, stiffness, and eventually they die from asphyxiation. That means they can't breathe no more.
So there's a 30-minute interval between the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seems to be a lot of different poisons in this world.
That's for sure. Unlucky for us humans.
Oh dear, death by poisoning. Again. And a locked room mystery. Again. It's always so awful.
Yeah, no kidding.
90 minutes is a long time. Wouldn't you agree? Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
You can't deny that. I think we're all in agreement. This further degrades Soseki's alibi.
I got the medical report for the doctor who examined him right here. Spells it out really well. The killer's the only person who could have done it.
Alright, yo, let me see that. Like now. a report issued by Scotland Yard's medical officer. It obviously mentions the poison as well as other details gleaned from the police investigation. Perfect.
I see it here. Delayed onset symptoms.
Great. A timed delay. Ain't that just grand for us? Before we do anything, though, we should probably also just examine what we have at present. Anything here that looks out of the ordinary? What on earth is that puddle? And it's right under the gas thing? Do you think that's... I mean, even the opening chapter, which I know that's metagaming and I shouldn't, like, think about that, but it also mentions gas. The gas here, I'm gonna be honest, I don't fully know all the properties of gasoline. Just throwing that out there. If you can get gasoline poisoning, I don't know. Can't say I know everything in the world, right? But we can't outrule it. There's a lot of wacky stuff in this game, but other than that, let's just start by reading this. William Shamespeare, cause of coma, ingestion of small quantity of strychin. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance being mixed with tea. No sample could be obtained for testing, because we're just assuming that. I mean, who's to say he didn't ingest this poison himself to make a big deal, you know, so people pity him, and I don't know, he's in the hospital, and I guess I have to, like, feed him in the hospital, right? The poisoning incident occurred at 1:30 a.m. 1:30. Do they know that based on... Whoa. Assessing from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have broken when the man collapsed after delayed onset symptoms. No container of the poison was found at the scene. So he collapsed at 1:30. At the same time, I don't know, it seems a little effed up to, like, assume Shamespeare is trying to go after Soseki. But I'm very suspicious on his clock, or his, his watch breaking there. That's weird, because that doesn't line up with what Soseki's saying. Strange. Also, let's just look at the teacups. Anything fancy with them? Yeah? One of them has, like, a weird ring inside, while the other doesn't. That can't be a coincidence, right? Let's check it out. This must be the cup that Mr. Shamespeare is drinking from. It's stained on the inside.
Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea.
Oh, really? I've never noticed.
You never noticed that?
Well, I never leave the cup long enough to leave a mark. I tend to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, right?
Oh, dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. And most of them are Japanese.
Hey, whoa, come on! I gulp it down too! What's wrong with that? You know it's doing you good when it burns your throat. Okay, and this weird protrusion.
Oh, what is it, Naruhodo? Bar soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there's some round disc in the depression. A reddish one. Yeah, where'd that go? I remember it too. Now the depression is completely empty.
Where could that disc have gone? That B-shaped guy didn't really bump into us or anything. What could have been in the depression that could have either melted or evaporated? That is weird. And last but not least, I don't think we're getting a lot out of this one, but hey, it looks like a piece of a puzzle that'll come and play later. Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a leather opener or scissors, did they? Must have been in a rush.
Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. And judging from the angle of the rip, the person in question must have been right-handed.
Oh, okay, good to know.
I think perhaps someone has been reading too much of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You can never read too much of that, Mr. Naruhodo. Never, ever, ever.
Is that not like a real clue? Yeah, anyway. We also have some remainders from the previous trial from the looks of it. The street map we got again. Yeah. And the book receipt, which is how we kind of proved Natsumi's innocence last time. I doubt that'll come into play this time, though.
The victim would have perfectly able to lock the door after the guess. Argument still stands.
Hold it! Okay, let's just talk about this timing, though. The argument still stands, you say.
Yeah, this is what Mr. Natsumi been saying, ain't it? The pair of them drank the tea together that night. So if there was poison in it, the victim would have been able to lock the door after the accused later on.
Exactly. Me and my tea are innocent. Sweet's an innocent.
I'm actually saying the contrary, buddy boy. You gotta listen to the words I'm putting out. All right? I'm afraid that don't follow. You see, the striking... I'm just gonna act... I can't not pronounce... I'm just pronouncing this wrong every time. Strychnine. Yeah, that's it. That's how you say it. It's a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for a symptom to appear. So if you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. And as long as you did that, Shamespeare could have locked the door.
But no. We drank the tea straight away. The battle over Romeo and Juliet was stronger. That came after the tea.
Oh. So drink tea, and assuming this battle of theirs lasted 30 minutes, but you need to put that in your testimony. Do you have any evidence to support that statement?
In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying.
Drink tea while it's hot. Sure, a proverb would satisfy the prosecution. That's not going to work. We can't take your word for it, man. That proverb sounds ridiculous. You gotta, let air cool a little bit, All right, there's no conclusive proof that can just defend the...
But dude, he probably... When they were fighting, that's most likely when he broke his watch.
I want to hear more about this fight, please, Soseki, but it's not going to be relevant. It'll have to come up later.
On the contrary, there's sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in the matter.
No!
Dang it, that didn't lead to anything? Crud. I see it's the testimony. If I could voice a personal opinion. Of course, go ahead. You really should have read that third statement, silly. Oh, my bad. Mr. Natsumi is arguing for his innocence, so adamantly and persistently. Inspector Gregson just brushes off what he says. It's really quite infuriating.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So we need to find an inconsistency when the inspector is saying. I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to be finding Mr. Natsumi's guilt. I see. Alright, focus on the poison in the tea then. Sure. Wait. If... I don't know how this is relevant yet, but if this is how they found him, and this is implying that, yeah, he fell and broke his pocket watch at 1:30, then how the dump is this the crime scene? You know what I mean? Maybe we can use that here, because that is that's a contradiction in the evidence, not what their statements are saying. But what is the time frame? Completely harmless. Lock the door otherwise. Wait, no, he says the time. At around 11. Went back to my room at around 11. There's a time discrepancy here. We already know we need to press Gregson, though. Some time to have effect of the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. Okay. But 11, this report says... This should not be this hard. It says 1. He fell over at 1. How do you explain that, Gregson? The argument still stands, you say? I think not, Inspector.
Oh, come again? What are you talking about?
Think you'll find. Now, you've overlooked a very significant chronological inconsistency.
Chrono, what you talking about, huh? Out with it. All this fancy words.
According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning, and yet, the defendant, Mr. Natsumi, left the victim's room at 11.
Oh, that's no good, huh?
That's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there.
I got nothing, I'll be honest, you got me there.
In other words, if the poison was in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen to it 2.5 full hours later? Wait, why are you both freaking out? Natsumi!
God, get him off the podium. Do back-to-back chapters of him in the hot seat. The defense argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zeeks?
With a bottle of wine. I don't know a single wine brand, sorry.
Welch's grape juice?
It's pretty close.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine will best complement the contents of my Harlow chalice in this luncheon.
There's a luncheon? Am I invited?
No. How could it have happened, you ask? Well, I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea.
A phantom? A lot of ghost-themed and Reaper-themed in this chapter.
Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left?
Oh, dope. That's perfectly logical.
For example, at the time stated in the medical report. Yes, at around 1:30.
Who in their right mind would drink caffeine tea that late? You'll never get to sleep. Mr. Natsumi brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there's a well-known saying, "No, Naruto, drink tea while it's hot."
Objection! I don't care what you say over there. In my country, there's an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea.
What? The point is, if there was such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities.
What sort of possibilities do you have in mind?
I'll get back to you on that.
Oh, good heavens.
The man could have had another visitor for all we know.
Another visitor? That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend. From someone who has nothing to substantiate it with.
The victim could have taken the poison of his own volition?
Hey, he's kind of spitting. Hold up. You suggest this might have been attempted suicide.
Well, what does he have to gain then?
Mr. Shamespeare's categorically denied suicide. Oh goodness, that wine is getting to me. The idea can and must be discounted.
Yeah, but what he says and what he does is another. He could be lying.
More dots.
It's really giving us the silent treatment, huh? God.
How many goddamn dots are in this franchise? Y'all, if you start counting them, your eyes will go cross-eyed. What's wrong, Van Zeeks? I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray, forgive the discourtesy, but I think we're done here.
What carriage?
It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived.
What? Who? Oh. No, really, who? Out, brief candle? Life's but a walking shadow? No, not here. No! A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. I don't know, man. I'm more of a Beetlejuice kind of guy. Y'all seen that? That's a good show. That's theater. Yeah.
Who, sir, are you?
William Shamespeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I undone by these bitter events. I am the victim.
What is he doing here? Just when you thought things couldn't get more annoying.
The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's future resistance will be utterly crushed.
I don't know. He seems like a goofball. I think you're actually throwing me a line here, so I'll take it. You're calling him as a witness? You gotta be kidding me. You know, I used to try and make Naruhodo and Phoenix sound different. So much for that. They are the same person now. Screw it. I'm too tired. Very well, counsel. I grant your request with earned interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself.
Wait, if he's poor, how does he have all this crap? Happy I am, Shamespeare, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord. But still I have my own tame
I just realized they sound the same. Freak. I gotta figure something else out.
But I have my own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence in perfect English.
No, that's all right. We don't need that. Let the court hear from the victim now.
Great. Well...
You!
What? Alright, so that's Mr. Shamespeare. Who's this guy? Yes. I feel sure that we've caught a glimpse of that man before.
State your name and occupations. Please, witnesses.
A writer of words, so sweet, they do scent the breeze, and inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare, with a great bard to recall to life anew. Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shamespeare.
The name's Meaderman. Arbon B. Meaderman.
I get it. He's a bee, but why is he a bee?
I work for the Altamont Gas Company, East End branch.
He's a gas guy. Okay. I remember. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh yeah, she's right. It's him. He was just... Yeah, he just showed up. He's looking at something. And it looks like the soap on the other side. I don't know. Looks like he's looking at Soseki-san's house. Weird. Well, that explains the staring that's going on. Excuse me, can I have a word?
No time. Later.
That was odd. We spotted him. And he's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case?
Can only wonder. I mean, the whole gassing thing is kind of, it's definitely relevant. Mr. William? Shamespeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct?
Oh, heaven, oh, heck. Do you command me to remember that sweet poison that didst across me and cross mine innocent lips?
I subpoenaed him for the trial. With the doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure.
Behold, you have only to arrange the letters of my name to see that me's a seraph, an angel indeed.
Me's a seraph?
Yeah, it kind of, that's... Hey, I'll give you Capcom, that was pretty good. I think he's a letter off, though, no?
Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be.
Yeah, you're a real angel, all right. Because there isn't less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all. God dang it. The jurors seems to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid.
They love him? What can I say? He's epic. He's epic.
Oh, yeah, even I'm a bricklayer, and even I like this bloke. He's all right by me.
I think that's an Australian accent, actually, but he's trying his darndest.
They're actually taking this seraph crap seriously? It's so... Ugh. Watch his real name just be like... I don't know. Dick. Last name Pitt. Ew. Anyway. Thank you, witness, for your illuminating instructions. But please, I don't want to visualize what you just said.
But, my lord, what the man next to Mr. Shamespeare doing here? The gas man, I mean.
What? Me? Well, now,
Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence. When you suggest the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. Moreover, the victim is a compulsive liar.
What? No, I didn't say any of that. I was just,
This young chin stroker is here to controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meaderman? Hang on. No, I'm just here.
I hereby call for your formal testimonies at once. Tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question.
Oh, may smile and be a villain? Yes, it doth pain me. But let the truth be spoken. The truth of what wintry night of my discontent.
Yeah, all right.